Hi everyone, good evening. I am going to be doing some read alouds here over the next few nights. I hope to continue this as much as possible during our little step away from school for a little bit. I try to read to our scholars every single day, so I'm going to continue that. So tonight we are going to read a book that everyone's familiar with. I'm sure you may have heard, but it's my favorite author. It's Dr. Seuss. We're going to be reading Horton Hears a Who. On the 15th of May, in the jungle of Newell, in the heat of the day and the cool of the pool, he was splashing, enjoying the jungle's great joys, when Horton the elephant heard a small noise. So Horton stopped splashing. He looked toward the sound. That's funny, thought Horton. There's no one around. Then he heard it again, just a very faint yelp, as if some tiny person were calling for help. I'll help you, said Horton, but who are you? Where? He looked and looked. He could see nothing there, but a small speck of dust blowing past through the air. I say, muttered Horton, I've never heard tell of a small speck of dust that was able to yell. So you know what I think? Why, I think there must be someone on top of that small speck of dust, you see. Some sort of creature of very small size, too small to be seen with my elephant eyes. Some poor little person who's shaking with fear, then that he'll blow in the pool. He'll have no way to steer. I'll just have to save him, because after all, a person's a person, no matter how small. So, gently and using the greatest of care, the elephant stretched his trunk through the air. He lifted the dust speck and carried it over and placed it down safe on a very soft clover. Humph, huffed the voice. 'Twas a sour kangaroo. And the young kangaroo in her pouch said humph, too. Why, that speck of dust is as small as the head of a pin. A person on that? Why, there never has been. Believe me, said Horton, I tell you sincerely, my ears are quite keen, and I heard him quite clearly. I know there's a person down there, and what's more, quite likely there's 2, even 3, even 4, quite likely a family for all that we know. A family with children that's just starting to grow. So please, Horton said, as a favor to me, try not to disturb them. Just let them be. I think you're a fool, laughed the sour kangaroo. And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, me too. You're the biggest blame fool in the jungle of Newell. And the kangaroos plunged into the cool of the pool. What terrible splashing, the elephant frowned. I can't let my very small persons get drowned. I've got to protect them. I'm bigger than they. So he plucked up the clover and hustled away. Horton's very nice. Through the high jungle treetops, the news quickly spread. He talks to a dust speck. He's out of his head. Just look at him walk with that speck on that flower. And Horton walked worrying almost for a whole hour. Should I put this speck down? Horton thought with alarm. If I do, these small persons, they might come and deal with great harm. I can't put them down. I won't, after all. A person's a person, no matter how small. It's almost my bedtime. Then Horton stopped walking. The speck voice was talking. The voice was so faint he could barely hear it. "Speak up, please," said Horton. He put his ear near it. "My friend," came the voice, "you're a very fine friend. You've helped us all folks on this dust speck no end. You've saved all our houses and ceilings and floors. You've saved all the churches and grocery stores." "You mean," Horton gasped, "you have buildings there too?" "Oh yes," piped the voice, "we most certainly do." "I know," called the voice, "I'm too small to be seen, but I'm the mayor of the town that is friendly and clean. Our buildings to you seem so terribly small, but to us they're big, they're wonderfully tall. My town is called Whoville, for I am a Who. And we Who are thankful and grateful for you." And Horton called back down to the mayor of the town, "You're safe now, don't worry. I will not let you down." But just as he spoke to the mayor of the speck, 3 big jungle monkeys climbed up Horton's neck. The Wickersham brothers came shouting, "What rot! This elephant's talking to Whos who are not. There aren't any Whos, and they don't have a mayor. We're going to stop this nonsense, so there." They snatched Horton's clover. They carried it off to the black-bottomed eagle named Vladikov, a mighty strong eagle of very swift wing. And they said, "Will you kindly get rid of this thing?" And before the poor elephant could even speak, that eagle flew off with the clover in his beak. Let's make predictions. What do we think is going to happen to Whoville? All that late afternoon and far into the night, that black-bottomed bird flapped his wings in fast flight, while Horton chased after with groans over stones that tattered his toenails and battered his bones, and begged, "Please don't harm my little folks, who have such a right to live as us bigger folks do." But far, far beyond him, that eagle kept flapping, and over his shoulder called back, "Quit your yapping. I'll fly the night through. I'm a bird, I don't mind it. And I'll hide this tomorrow where you'll never find it." Starting to feel bad for the Whos and Horton. And at 6:56 the next morning he did it. It sure was a terrible place that he hid it. He left a small clover drop somewhere inside a great batch of clovers 100 miles wide. "Find that," sneered the bird. "I think you will fail." And he left with a flip of his black-bottomed tail. "I'll find it," cried Horton. "I'll find it or bust. I shall find my friends on the small speck of dust." And clover by clover with care, he picked and searched them and said, "Are you there?" But clover by clover, no clover was found. That the only one he sought after just wasn't around. And by noon, poor old Horton, more dead than alive, hand-picked and searched and piled 9,005. Horton is probably quite exhausted after this. Then on through the afternoon, hour after hour, till he found them at last, 1 in 3 million flowers. Horton said, "My friends," cried the Horton, "tell me, do tell, are you safe, are you sound, are you whole, are you well?" From down on the speck came the voice of the mayor. We've really had trouble, much more than our share. Where that black-bottomed birdie let go and dropped us, we landed so hard that our clocks have stopped. Our teapots are broken, our rocking chairs are smashed, our bicycle tires all blew up when things crashed. So Horton, please, pleaded the voice of the mayor's, will you stick by us while we make our repairs? Of course, said Horton. Of course I'll stick around. I'll stick by you small folks through thick and through thin. Humph! Humph's the voice. For almost 2 days, you've run wild and insisted on chatting with persons who've simply never existed. Such carryings on in our peaceful jungle, you've had quite enough of your bellowing bungle, and I'm here to state, snapped the big kangaroo, that your silly, nonsensical game is all but through. And the young kangaroo in his pouch said, "Me too!" With the help of the Wickersham brothers and dozens of Wickersham uncles and Wickersham cousins and Wickersham in-laws, those who helped I've engaged, you're going to be roped, you're going to be caged. And as for your speck of dust, ha! That we shall boil in a hot steaming kettle of bezelnut oil. Boil it? Gasped Horton. Oh, that you can't do. It's full of persons. They'll prove it to you. Mr. Mayor, Horton called. Mr. Mayor, you've got to prove now that you really are there. So call a big meeting and get everyone out there. Make every who holler, make every who shout, make every who scream. If you don't, every who is going to end up in bezelnut stew.